And we want to get some more perspective now on the primary as New Jersey voters hit the polls and what it could mean for the general election.
All right now we're joined by political analyst Steve Adubato, who is the author of the book Lessons in Leadership 2.0, The Tough Stuff. Thanks so much for being with us tonight.
And Natasha, great to be with you.
All right, so as we await the results, give us your take on the front runners in the governor's race. Obviously a very crowded field on both sides.
Well, look, I mean, Jack Ciattarelli got Donald Trump's endorsement. That's tantamount to winning a Republican primary because it's a MAGA Republican Party. A moderate Republican will not win that primary. On the Democratic side, it is a crapshoot, meaning you could win, one of these 6 Democrats could win with 25, maybe 30% of the vote, no more than that. So think about that. The vote is splintered all over the place. So you just heard our reporter, $85 million. Actually, that's a low number because there are people, there are organizations not actually tied to the campaigns who are also pouring more money, well over $100 million spent on a Democratic and Republican primary for governor of New Jersey, record-setting.
Yeah, record-setting. We've seen some tight races and some establishment-backed candidates facing pushback. What does that tell you about the mood of voters in New Jersey right now?
New Jersey voters, like voters across the country, we'll find out in New Jersey and Virginia, the only 2 states after a presidential election that has a gubernatorial race, they're peeved. Affordability, it's ridiculous. You cannot afford to live in the Garden State. Taxes are out of control. Affordability is the issue. And I'll tell you what, the president can say what he wants about tariffs. You know, you're not going to, your prices are not going to go up. They are going to go up. And when they go up, prices go up, it gets blamed on tariffs. What does Ciattarelli do then? But the Democrats better elect, if they want to elect someone to governor, it cannot be, in my opinion, a far left, very progressive liberal candidate. It's got to be a more moderate, centrist, anti-tax candidate.
Yes, Steve, talk about how the winner of the Dem primary tonight has to pivot toward the general election. New Jersey is an interesting state. You know, it's sort of perceived to be maybe more Democratic than it is in the last governor's race. We saw Jack Ciattarelli almost pulled it off. He lost 51-48 to Murphy, who's been term limited. What do you see as we move towards the general?
Well, Steve, think about this. Yes, it's a blue state, but not that blue. It's almost purplish, if you will. Donald Trump, he got crushed the last time he ran in 2020 when he ran for president. I got to say this. In 2024, Donald Trump only lost New Jersey by between 5 and 6 percentage points with over almost 1 million more registered Democrats than Republicans. Ciattarelli, as you just said, Steve, almost pulled this thing off against Phil Murphy. It is a state that could go Republican, has gone Republican in the past for Chris Christie and Christie Whitman. It could happen if the Democrats, again, I'm repeating myself, nominate someone that is seen as too far left for most moderate voters in New Jersey. It's going to be a real bellwether in November.
Yeah, I mean, like some candidates like Cheryl and Gottheimer have sent out this anti-Trump message in their campaigns. Is that going to be effective? The winner has to pivot back for the general.
You know, again, I do think that Donald Trump is the key in this election. Yes, to winning the Republican primary, but Jack Ciattarelli is going to have to pivot too. He's going to have to challenge and question and criticize Donald Trump as a Republican nominee. The Democrats, listen, they're going to blast Donald Trump, but the reality is when it comes to immigration and deportation, it appears as if Donald Trump has the majority of voters, not just Republicans, but Democrats, independents, including in New Jersey, with him. So you can only blast him so much and blame him for so much, but he's going to be the key to this election in November.
Yeah, we know he's paying attention too, for sure. All right, very well. Steve Adubato, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
We want to bring in our political analyst for more perspective on the primary, what it could mean for the general election.
All right, let's go back to Steve Adubato, who rejoins us now. And you called it at the top of the hour, 10 minutes after you said the endorsement from President Trump was going to be critical in this race. The AP called it for Jack Ciattarelli. What's your reaction to that? I guess not much of a surprise to you.
Steve, you don't have to be Nostradamus to have predicted that. It was so obvious. As soon as Trump made that endorsement, Ciattarelli was going to be the winner. It's just, like I said in the past segment, it's a MAGA party at this point. But I will tell you this. Jack Ciattarelli is going to have to figure out how to do the following. If prices go up, if the mass deportation movement with military force out in L.A. goes wrong, if in fact Inflation is out of control. Jack Ciattarelli can't just say Donald Trump's my guy, because yes, Trump came close to winning New Jersey. Well, 5-6 points he lost last time around, and again in a state that should be much bluer than it was in 2024. But I got to tell you this, Ciattarelli's going to have to pivot. And also one more thing, Jack Ciattarelli a few years back, before Donald Trump was really Donald Trump in office, said he wasn't fit to be president. He wasn't fit to lead our country. You wait till you see that ad run again and again and again, no matter who the Democratic nominee is.
Yeah. Speaking of ads, we've seen a flood of them for the primary. I mean, as we said before, the primary, this one was the most expensive in New Jersey history. What's your expectation for spending come November?
If you think $100 million for a primary is bad, I mean, it's not good. I mean, that's an obscene amount of money. I'll tell you what else. The Democrats spent all this money, Republicans as well, but the Democrats spent all this money. I can't imagine not a lot of people even knew who these candidates were, meaning name recognition did not go up. I think that number could be significantly higher in November because one of the only two states in the nation, as Morgan just said before, New Jersey, Virginia, it's a bellwether. Trump's going all in. Trump's going to raise money. The Democrats are trying to beat back Trump and also put themselves in position to take control of the House in 2026. All eyes on New Jersey.
Yeah. And there's limited money to go around, I mean, in the grand scheme of things. So it's going to be interesting to have to fight for every dollar in what's going to be a hotly contested race. All right, Steve Adubato, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.